It's time to feel the rage. Welcome to Film Rage, where we talk movies, current releases, coming attractions, streaming, and classic films as well. Directors and actors beware, as you cannot hide from the rage. My name is Bryce, and I'm part of the Film Rage crew, which also includes Jim. Hello, Jim.
Hey.
And the man whose burning heart is just about to burst. And he has the eye of the tiger. It's Murray.
Yo.
Hello,
Adrian.
Murray. Adrian. So with the introductions out of the way, let's rage on.
This week on the podcast, we talk about the only two movies left. Well, sorry, three movies we had not seen in theaters and that we're playing. What's coming out next week in cinemas, which is not a lot. Some streaming, open rage, Murman Minute, the list, rage or dare, and then we sign off and hope and pray for new movies to come out until next week. But first,
Yes.
we're going to remind everybody of All the Horror at All the Horror 18 on Twitter and Instagram. Check out scaresthatcare.org. There will be some new t-shirts from All the Horror 18, which need your money, because all the money that's made from the All the Horror podcast festival that's happening in October goes to scaresthatcare.org, which is a fantastic charity. So check it out and buy some merch. All right. What did we see in theaters?
Well, Jim, we saw Alive, which was actually made in 2018. It's just playing now, though, in the Canyon Meadows, and I guess it's actually been released in a couple different places just recently, so this is actually...
Surprise!
Yeah, so...
This is what we're getting!
It took a while, but it made it to theaters.
Yay!
It's actually it's a local production.
Yay!
So,
Even more yay!
yeah. So...
Go Calgary!
Yeah. Alive. The movie started and it looked strangely familiar. I found myself trying to decide if this was something I had actually already seen or was this a remake of something I had already seen. It basically took me till the end to figure out that I indeed did see this.
You mean when I looked it up and told you it was playing at SIFF?
No, I kind of figured out it was. Anyways, I'm like, where did I see it? And then we figured that out. I actually saw the world premiere, as you just mentioned, a couple of years back at the Calgary International Film Festival. Anyway, that should tell you all you need to know. The fact that it took me so long to figure out I'd already seen this tells you what I thought of it. Having said all that, there's a lot of good in this movie. It's about two people who wake up incapacitated as a caretaker who definitely has some sort of medical training, nurses them back to health. If there is a reason to watch this, it is the performance of Angus McFadden. As he steals the show as our caretaker, he has some genuine laugh-out-loud moments while staying consistently creepy throughout. This film could have easily been a Mondo had it not tried to do too much. There are some great scenes in this, and there are some not-so-great scenes in this. Once the story moves out of the hospital, it really starts to come off the rails. A lot of squandered potential here. This should have been better. Meh.
Frankenstein meets Saw meets Hostel meets Canadian film. Locally made Calgary film. The sound effects in this movie were amazing. Not normally something you would start out with for a review, but the sound was so great, it instantly made me start to fall in love with this film. The IV pulling, when he's pulling out the IV, like, you don't get gush.
Yep.
Like that.
No.
This director gives good gush.
Good gush and good sound of gush.
Yeah. So Robert Grant, you did a great job here, by
Absolutely.
the way. On your sound. It was amazing. The gushy, bloody, messy sounds as he drags himself along the hallway. In the first 10 minutes, I was hooked. This has some juicy, gushy, delicious sound effects that keep you super engaged and on the edge of your seat for the first half of this movie.
First half was good.
The grimy, icky, gooey mess, which was pretty much the whole movie scenery, was awesome and kept the gross factor high from the start of the film. I loved this, that I wasn't as I was watching it, I really loved the immersion that it gave you into the world that this guy was creating. So to your point, up until the part where they get out of the house,
Yeah.
I was fully engaged in this movie. I
It
was
looked
loving
like a
every
hospital.
moment of
Was it a hospital? I thought it was a hospital.
It was probably a hospital. I'm not sure, but
It's kind of weird that you had a completely abandoned hospital, but
it seemed pretty weird that size of a hospital too would be in the
Yeah.
middle of the mountains.
because it definitely wasn't like an apartment complex. It was
Maybe it was kind of like what do they call that? Like the old days of the 1920s where they threw all the mental patients.
yeah, maybe.
Maybe that was what it was. And they kept, you know what? Why not keep it in the middle of the mountains, in the middle of nowhere?
Yeah.
Sounds like a good place for it. I wasn't sure I liked the double and or triple endings.
Mm-hmm.
I like the journey a lot, but not enough to give this a Mondo. I feel 7 minutes in editing, kind of like that 7 minutes in heaven as a teenager.
We talked about this after. Absolutely. If
would
we-
have made this a Mondo.
Yeah, there was probably just a couple of scenes and a couple of things that you could have taken out 7 or 8 minutes, and it would have been so much
I think
better.
it would have been. I could have been perfect with the perfect sense of editing. There was. I thought as we got closer to the end of the film, when they had left and they were on this journey together, the two of them, so we say the characters, I really did love the fact that you kind of don't really know what's happening until the end. That part I did kind of like.
Yep.
All in all, I would recommend that people see this, especially if you're from Canada, because it's a really good Canadian film.
Yeah, and if you just like a good, gory, fun movie, it fits the bill.
Yeah, I mean, you get enough. As I said, it gets a gooey, messy, local Mary Shelley meh.
Yep.
And I won't say anything else,
There you
because
go.
that pretty much gives a few things away.
It does. Don't even have to read between the lines.
No,
there.
you do not. Okay, we also saw the personal history of David Copperfield.
Oh, we sure did.
A modern take on Charles Dickens' classic tale of the young orphan who is able to triumph over many obstacles. Directed by Armando Iannucci, stars Dev Patel, Hugh Laurie, and Tilda Swinton. I want to start with saying I finally came to the conclusion of what my third favorite genre is.
Yes.
Fantasy.
This was definitely fantasy.
This was fantasy, and I've decided
This was a period piece fantasy, though,
it
Jim.
was. It was. So now that's out of the way. This movie is, for the most part, a fantasy movie. Along the lines of, say, Big Fish or The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
Absolutely.
The characters are so well developed, and I mean so well developed.
Yep.
The dialogue is funny and quick and intelligently written, even when it's pretending to be subclass or, as mentioned in the film, different dialects. I thoroughly enjoyed every moment of this film. Tilda Swinton as Betsy Trotwood and Daisy May Cooper as Peggotty were mesmerizing in their secondary roles, stealing the scenes from anyone they were beside. But not in a bad way.
Nope.
And our boy Dev Patel, I love this kid so much. He is surely back on the road to being Undoubted. This film gets a character-driven period piece. Yes, I know.
Yes.
Fun-loving journey to happiness, heartwarming Mondo. My favorite lines plural. This is a tolerable, nice piece of rump, or pretty much anything that Hugh Laurie said through the entire movie.
No kidding.
Yep.
All right. I tend to agree with you, Jim. This was delightful. Bravo to the multi-ethnic casting in this. In a weird way, it breathes some extra life into this period piece that takes place in the mid-1800s.
Yeah, I want to talk more about that when
didn't-
you're finished. I want to talk more about that.
We didn't get blinded by the white, if you know what I'm saying.
Yes, I want to talk more. Keep going.
Yes. Dev Patel as Copperfield was an excellent bit of casting. Also in this were Hugh Laurie and Tilda Swinton, both turning in performances that had me laughing out loud throughout. The film ticks along at a brisk pace and is a feast for the eyes with its fantastic set designs. This was a unique interpretation of a classic novel. I loved every second of this. This was Mondo.
Yeah, I just want to bring that up. Thanks for bringing that up, because I
Yep.
wasn't sure how to sort of properly bring this across. People need to realize that this movie has done something to equalize all races in this movie. And it's something that when it first happens, you're kind of like, what's going on? And they did it so well because Dev Patel's character, obviously he's of Indian descent, and his mom, who you get to meet, but you don't get to see his dad. His mom is white or Caucasian. So you're like, okay, she's pasty Brit and he's Indian. You're kind of like, okay, well, maybe his dad is also Indian. You find out halfway through the movie that no, his dad is not Indian. His dad is pasty white British as well.
Exactly.
So you're kind of thinking to yourself, okay, so what's the deal here? Is he adopted? Is he not adopted? And it takes you, or I should say, people in general. I'm gonna assume that people who see this would feel the same way. That you're watching this and you instantly sort of think something's wrong, or they were adopted, or this was this. But no. So after the first time, you're kind of like, okay, I still don't get it. But then they introduce another character where she's pasty white and her dad is Asian. And then you're going, okay, I get it. They didn't cast people for anything other than their skill. So
it was fantastic.
And then when it happened again, pasty white son, super, super black mom. And all of the characters that they developed for this were freaking amazing. Kudos to the casting director. Kudos for them making this film.
I've never seen anybody cast like this. And
No,
you know what?
never.
It was fantastic.
Yeah, it was. I want to see more things like this. Like you go to the movie theater and you're like, yeah, I can't see anybody else playing that role.
Exactly.
Like Dev Patel, could you see anybody? No one could have played that. He was it. He was David Copperfield. And in my mind, David Copperfield will always be an Indian-born man.
Yes.
That's just what it's going to be from now on.
And you know what, Jim? Why not?
Exactly. Cool. I loved it.
All right. So now I'm just going to blow through a couple of films that I saw.
Just happened to go and see.
And then I'm going to talk in depth about another one.
All right.
If you don't mind, Jim.
I don't mind anything.
I saw a few movies that you did not.
That's true.
We're going to start with Military Wives. It's playing at Canyon Meadows. And based on the true story of military wives who form a choir while their partners are serving in Afghanistan. It is very formulaic. It was not as bad as I thought it might be, but it was still not great. Though through a series of events, these women find themselves invited to perform at the Royal Albert Hall in London. This is where the climax of the film takes place. There are glimpses of the stress involved in having your partner in a war zone, and I do admit that I found myself caring for the characters involved as they tried to occupy themselves to avoid dwelling on the dangers that their spouses were facing. This is one of those movies, honestly, though, that I'll probably forget I saw in the next year or two. It wasn't awful. It was meh. But if you ask me in 2 or 3 years about Military Wives, I'll say, huh?
It's like Calendar Girls or like The Full Monty or another one of those. Was it British?
It was indeed.
Oh, there you go. So another one where they can't figure out an original script, so they kind of just throw another something in and make it something the same.
It's so followed a formula that we've seen.
Thank God I didn't see it. Thank you for not bringing me to that.
But it had Kristen Scott Thomas in it, which is always good to see her.
Agreed.
I'm a little surprised she chose to be in this movie, but
well,
honestly,
now we know
it was a bit of fluff. I didn't hate it.
You need to start hating more fluff.
I know. So, I also saw Fisherman's Friends, and we'll blow through this as well. Also based on a true story. This tells the tale of fishermen from Cornwall who gets signed by Universal Records singing copyright-free sea shanties.
This almost sounds like the same movie, but with... How is this different?
Singing copyright-free sea shanties, which led to a top 10 hit in the UK. Kind of a cool story. However, this movie turned into a cliche-heavy, silly romantic comedy. This absolutely should have been presented as a comedy, as the characters involved in the situation really leads itself to laughs. But why, once again, do we take a relatively interesting story and bog it down with a silly budding romance? Having said that, this movie does have its merits. The acting is solid, especially from those cast as the fishermen's friends, where James Purefoy, David Heyman, and David Johns were standouts. These guys are just really good actors.
Yeah.
There were some laughs, but ultimately the film is stalled by the romance between the flashy A&R guy from the big city and the daughter of one of the fisherman's friends. This was among the many silly side stories that did not need to be in this film. Why is it we can't focus on the actual story? Had they done that, it would have been a far better movie. Probably still would have been an excellent movie, but it would have been better. Still, the characters were very likable, so I'm still gonna give it a meh.
Oh, I already hate it. I hate everything about it, and I haven't even seen it.
Yeah, you'd probably hate it. Okay, and now the movie I'm actually excited to talk about.
But
So-
you also gave it a...
No, I did. Don't. Let's not have a spoiler here. No, I think I might have mondoed this, but I guess we'll have to wait till the end of the review.
Now I'm excited.
Could it be a man? Could it be a mondo? Anyways, I saw the 800, which was really good. In 1937, 800 Chinese soldiers. It was actually 420. 800 Chinese soldiers.
He counted.
I did. I counted each and every one of them, and there was 420, not 800. In 1937, 800 Chinese soldiers hold back the Japanese army while under siege from a warehouse in the middle of the Shanghai battlefield. This was filmed entirely with IMAX cameras. However, for some reason, I was not able to see it in IMAX at the cinema, even though they have an IMAX screen at the cinema I went to. But I digress. From the opening moments, you could tell, at the very least, this was going to be a visual experience, as the camera work was fantastic. We open with a visual of the devastation of Da Chang, and the camera moves to the warehouse where a bulk of the movie takes place. It is gray and damp and deserted, and then the camera moves back beyond the warehouse, and we see across the creek is the international settlement, where there are bright lights of the signs of restaurants, theaters, and hotels, and appears to be a normal, bustling city. It is from here we see people going about their daily lives while periodically looking across the creek to see what is going on at the warehouse, where there's a war going on and people are dying. Very shocking to see these two very different experiences existing literally across the creek from one another. This movie is very good at showing the sacrifice these soldiers and even some of the citizens of the international settlement actually undertake. It is a powerful movie and a hard watch at times. My one complaint is it has some unneeded humor sprinkled throughout. I know it's an attempt to give us a breather from the devastation, but it felt out of place and forced at times. But that's a minor complaint. Tremendous story worth telling, combined with a very good cast and superior cinematography and direction, make this movie a mondo. I suggest going to see it.
Sweet. I will go see it. It sounds awesome.
All right, and
That was it? That's all
I saw.
that's
I
everything.
just saw 3 extra ones.
Just 3. No,
Just 3.
no
It was
big
a
deal.
long weekend.
It was a long weekend. I shouldn't have watched all the boys.
Did you watch all the boys?
I watched the ones that were released, but
Yeah.
I won't talk more about that.
No, that's TV.
So what's playing next weekend? Apparently,
Nothing.
just one movie called
No, there's more.
Brotherhood. Brotherhood. And in 1926, a band of teenage boys arrive at Long Point Camp for the adventure of their lives. Everything about this sounds homoerotic.
Sounds erotic.
Quite
Sounds like a
sexual.
porno, yeah.
When their canoe capsizes in a freak summer storm, their holiday descends into a soul-saddening fight for survival. Directed and written by Richard Bell.
Sounds sexy.
Sounds very sexy. Even the fact that they have this giant phallic canoe that they're all riding on together. I am excited to see that just for that and that alone.
There you go.
I will say that there's, I think, 3 other movies that are coming out this weekend, which all happen to be romances. So I'm just going to leave it at that, because this could possibly form the heart of my rage.
Possibly could, eh?
Possibly could, but I'll leave you in suspense.
Stay tuned.
There's
Stay
no suspense.
tuned.
It's definitely
It's definitely going to happen. Okay, well, you know what?
That was
Let's
it?
dance.
All right, let's dance.
Streaming. Motherfucking streaming. We were just streaming. And Bryce, we did what?
Streaming.
Murray, did you stream some stuff? Did you watch some movies on your TV?
No, streaming.
Except for maybe some TV streaming. So, we saw Unknown Origins.
Origins?
Origins on the Netflix.
That would be Unknown Origins for those of you who speak English.
It's only because it said Madrid. I was thinking Mandarin oranges,
Ah.
but it's not.
No.
It's from Madrid, not Mandarin.
No, those are totally different. Yes, Unknown Origins. So, I wasn't even going to watch this.
Thank God you did.
Because you put it on there, and then finally, I think Monday afternoon, I was like, fine.
Football's not on yet.
I'll watch it. I'd already streamed so much, but I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to watch it. So, as I say, I was not looking forward to watching this at all. It is a story of a serial killer recreating the origin stories of superheroes such as the Hulk, the Human Torch, Iron Man, Spider-Man, and more. How Marvel and DC Comics are not suing this production, given the blatant references to their property, is a little surprising, but I digress. Recreating these origin stories causes death to all his victims, as most origin stories involve such things as, as radiation or venomous bites that will kill your average person. At its core, this is a buddy cop movie with the misfit comic book geek and the super serious police officer forced to work together to solve the crime. Sounds kind of silly, right?
Yes!
Well, doesn't stop there. We also have a policewoman who's in charge of the homicide division who is like hardcore into cosplay.
Yeah, baby!
It is a ridiculous premise and ridiculous characters, and it was a lot of fun to watch.
It's Spanish.
My initial disdain for this film started to get chipped away as the film rolled along. I found myself laughing because this movie was genuinely funny. The action sequences, for the most part, were well executed. The ending was satisfying. It had plenty of memorable scenes, and a reveal at the end which made sense, even though it was kind of ridiculous. But that's the point. Yes, this movie was ridiculous, but it was
intentionally
was ridiculous fun. I can't believe I'm saying this because I did not want to watch it at all. This was Mondo.
Oh, snap! Jim knows something, doesn't he?
What say you, Jim?
Well, I am glad you got to see this. I actually watched this 2 weeks ago, but because I watched it, I had to make you watch it. I felt like it had a real Seven kind of feel to start with it, right?
Yep.
Almost like it was streaming that right through its consciousness through the film. Then the reference of Seven later came in the movie.
Yep.
Of course, you can't. It's like it's not one of those ones where it's like this is dumb,
stuff.
and then stuff. It was like one big steal.
Yeah, so good though.
Well played, well played. Actually, who directed this? We forgot to tell everybody.
Yes.
Director-writer is David Galindo? Maybe?
David Galindo.
That's kind of rolls off your...
Screenplay by Fernando Navarro.
And starring Javier, Veronica... I don't know that.
I don't know why you're even starting.
Bryce
Don't start what you can't finish, Jim.
That's your job. You're the finisher.
That's true, I am.
So... Done great writing throughout this film and built the comedy well into the film too.
It does.
Like it was so layered into it. Lots of clever little things.
I actually was laughing harder.
Oh yeah, as it went on. Even an Easter egg at the end. The love interest with the chief was kind of dumb, and it almost ruined it for me because it was so unimportant. But because the whole movie was dumb,
wasn't focused.
Because it was dumb, and
they didn't dwell on it.
No, they didn't really dwell on it. It was kind of like,
whatever.
It's there.
Yeah, that kiss was ridiculous,
yeah.
But I just blocked it from my mind.
Favorite line, go, it's late. I need my dinner. Then I'm going to jerk off. I thought you'd love that one.
Yes.
All in all, this was a Mondo. because I did like quite a few things about it. But I felt it could have had a little bit more potential. I'm still giving it a Mondo.
Okay, yeah.
But it was a lower Mondo. I think it could have been better.
It probably could have been, but
a little bit. But I did enjoy all the way through it. So
the advantage it had with me is I went in with
this is going to be terrible.
Expectations.
This is going to be the most terrible movie.
And even 5 minutes in, I was still like, okay, I still think this is going to be terrible. It literally chipped away at me though. Like, about 25 minutes in, I was like, I almost felt guilty for liking it. and by the end, I was like, I can't hide it anymore.
No, you can't. I'm actually enjoying it.
This is so good.
Yeah, it's funny how
just a lot of fun.
You can take what would be if this was in, say, a Canadian or an English-speaking filmmaker, and to me it would seem so completely contrived. Yep. Because it's a Spanish film, and you know what to expect from a lot of good comedic Spanish films where they poke fun at everything, that it just came off being that much more funny.
How were they not sued by Marvel and DC?
I don't know. Maybe they just liked the movie so much. I'll let it pass.
I hope so.
Okay.
It's blatant.
So we saw Freaks. You're one of us. And I have a feeling you're not going to like this as much as I did. Das ist good, ja? German superhero movie. So we kind of saw two superhero movies back to back.
Yes.
What?
I literally watched them back to back.
Ladies who kick ass and punch dicks. Yes, daddy likes the Germans. Always brings the goods. Nice dark superhero discovering powers film. Had a couple problems, but they were enough that I didn't mind it, because I do love the superhero named Laser Bitch. Like, if you're gonna have a superhero name, why would you not choose Laser Bitch? I mean, really.
I wouldn't choose that name.
You are a laser bitch. I'm just telling you right now.
I didn't say I wasn't one. I'm just saying I wouldn't choose it.
Okay. Superhero named Elmer? Come on. No. Supervillain? Absolutely. An absolute supervillain named Elmer? Loved little tiny German things in this movie. Like Elmer's dad, after banging the shit out of his girlfriend, and he can hear it, comes into his son's room, stinking of sex, and you got to be imagined that he was like totally naked when he walks in. They're not showing any full frontal nudity, but you can see the dad's he just had sex, and then he walks into his kid's room and he proceeds to give him shit about completely unrelated to anything. 2 minutes already mentioned German sex party, and it wasn't. It should have been mentioned, because there was a little bit of German sex party action happening here. Favorite line: why won't a female superhero dress like a worn-out dominatrix, right? Gets a German superhero meh.
That's it.
That's it. That's what it gets.
All right, I'm going to keep this really short. Because this really stirred little emotion in me. Good concept, fair execution, I guess. Didn't really like any of the characters, which made it hard to root for any of them.
Not even Elmer, the bad guy?
I wasn't really rooting for anyone. It wasn't awful. Add it to the list of films this week that I'll probably forget about in fairly quick order. I guess it was meh. I'm not raging on it.
All right.
It wasn't worse.
Yes.
You'll take it.
I'll take it. The Germans are not terrible this week.
Yes.
I like it. I like it.
All right, let's get on to something with more substance.
I'm
to it,
thinking of ending things off of Netflix.
Yes. And just to be, I'm not sure we mentioned the last two movies we reviewed.
Yeah, both on Netflix.
All on Netflix, for sure.
Yeah.
All right, I'm thinking of ending things is the latest effort from Charlie Kaufman. It is about a woman going on a trip to meet her boyfriend's parents. That's the best I can do. Nothing in this is what it seems. It jumps between different times and places. Characters can literally change appearance from one sentence to the next. The main character of our film transforms throughout the film, both ideologically and physically. The parents go back and forth through time. They're older, then they're younger, then they're older again. There's a dance sequence towards the end. There are scenes throughout that seem to be from another movie, Plus, there is actually a movie inside of this movie.
Yes.
Apparently directed by Robert Zemeckis, which got one of the biggest laughs that I've had in a movie in a while.
Me too.
That was a fantastic cast with Jesse Plemons and Jesse Buckley, showing that they are actors to watch. And always rock solid David Thewlis was in this as well, along with one of my very favorite actresses, Toni Collette.
Yeah.
They all deliver fantastic performances here. To me, this was a movie about human connection. It was about growing older. It was about the way we remember and the way that we see ourselves. It was probably about different things to different people, and I'm not sure any of us are right, but I'm also pretty sure that none of us are wrong. I love the overall effect this film had on me, and that makes it Mondo.
Oh, okay. Although Charlie Kaufman does not have a ton of direction under his belt, he does have some pretty great writing credits. I would almost say he has written some of the greatest and mind-bending films of the last 20 years. With this, his fourth directorial offering, be prepared for your mind to be mega mind-fucked for 2 hours and 14 minutes. The cast is great. In this story, it
Perfect
is
cast.
at times hard to follow, and you are trying to figure out what reality you're living in from one scene to the next scene. All in all, a very good movie. There were a few scenes in the film that I still don't understand why or what they had to do with almost anything, but that is almost a signature Kaufman trait. I did enjoy it, yes. Did I love it?
What?
No.
Oh, I loved it.
Are there going to be people who hate this film? Absolutely.
This is going to be top 10 of the year.
And it is not an easy to follow, and at times it's very,
awesome.
very
awesome.
slow to go anywhere.
What?
The dialogue at times is very pretentious and almost at times challenging you to keep up with the level of intellectual discussion the two main characters have, but just comes off a bit too highbrow for audience's sakes.
It was hilarious.
And a little bit for annoyance's sakes. Great thing is it's a Canadian author who wrote the original book it is based on. Gets a messed up mindfuckery high meh. I could not give it a Mondo because there was times I was just sitting there going, please talk about something other than this terrible onward. No, I didn't love the dialogue. No, did not love it.
No.
It gets a high meh.
It's Mondo.
No, it gets a meh.
No, it's Mondo.
No, it's definitely not.
I'll be shocked if this isn't in my top 10 of the year.
It doesn't shock me either. I was watching this going, Bryce is going to love this because it's a movie about nothing. And that's what it was. Pretty much nothing.
Very disappointed that you didn't
I
agree
liked
with me.
it. I liked it. There was times I was like, you need to speed it up, people.
Oh, no.
Speed it up.
They needed to make it a half hour longer and just slow it down a little.
I just would have looked for my scissors to cut my wrists or my hair. I think I did cut my hair right after seeing this.
I loved it.
You just go on loving it.
I will.
We're going to talk about a movie that I loved.
Can't wait to watch it again.
Well, you just keep watching it all day long.
Might just do
That's
that.
the last and only time I'll watch it. We saw The Wind on Shudder. A plainswoman faces the harshness and isolation of untamed land in the western frontier of the late 1800s. This has all the makings of something I would hate. A period piece, and B, a western film. Mm-hmm. Director Emma Tammy, writer Teresa Sutherland, stars Caitlin Gerard, Julian Goldani, Telles, Ashley Zuckerman. Interesting story. Female director and female writer, so kudos to that. Some good jump scares.
And the main characters are all female.
Yeah.
It's basically all...
Well, one, it's basically her.
It's basically her. Well, there's kind of two, I guess.
Kinda, but then her husband was also kind of there, too. So
he was there, but
she was it.
She was
it. Some good jump scares
Yep.
and cool levels of creepiness. Had a real slow burn to it.
Yep.
But little sprinklings of creep and weird kept you wanting to know more. Music score really got the story and the whole Western horror vibe. I loved the whole soundtrack and the whole music score on this. Fantastic ending. I actually really liked, in fact, I really loved this movie. Was the demon real or not? No one will ever really know for sure.
Nope.
Was a strong meh for most of the movie, but the ending kicked it up a notch and it gets a low meh for a great ending.
It's a low man.
Yeah,
No,
that
it's
doesn't make sense to me.
it's a low mondo.
Oh, so you said meh.
You said low man.
I meant mondo. It's a low mondo. It was a high meh through the whole movie, but it got a low mondo.
Got to a low mondo.
It
Okay,
did.
now that it's clear on what you...
Now that I know what I'm saying.
What you
Yes.
meant.
Am I just learning this language? Give me a break.
Yeah, well, you're doing good, Jim. Someday you'll have a
Full
basic-
comprehension.
Well, we're just shooting for a basic comprehension.
Basic level of comprehension.
Yeah. This movie
Was the wind.
drips with atmosphere and dread. The slow build is unsettling the whole way. It is the type of film I would accept. I would accept.
You would accept.
I would expect myself to love.
I know, right?
But sometimes I surprise myself. It was okay.
Apparently, there was too good of jump scares for you.
Yeah, it was just okay. I was watching it and I was like, why don't I like this more? And I can't even put my finger on it. I just don't know why I didn't like it more. Because it literally, if someone described, like you're describing the movie to me, and I'm going, man,
That sounds awesome.
I must have loved this movie. But then I actually saw it, and it was just okay. It was meh.
See, I love this one. You love the Kaufman one. And both of them were kind of messy. So,
Yeah, well, there you go.
well, who would think a Western period piece would get a mondo from me?
Yeah.
Murray, what do you say? Western period piece. Are you wanting to
thanks.
see this?
No.
There you go.
Unless there's gunfights, not really.
Well, there's evil possession, which is always
Not
fun.
the same thing.
Okay, so apparently you want me to talk about this next movie, so I will.
Okay, what is it? Did I see it?
It's called Mulan.
Oh, right.
It came out on Disney Plus.
I can't believe you spent $30 on this.
Well, that might.
You watched
Here's
it?
another spoiler. It might be part of my rage.
I could have told you this was going to make you rage.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, we all know what this movie is. From Disney. The story of a young Chinese woman who disguises herself as a man in order to save her father from having to serve in an impending war. So Disney charges $89.99 for a year, and then charges for early access to Mulan an additional $34.99.
Wow.
Really? That's nuts. Especially since while this was a pretty movie to look at, it was ultimately meh. It has very formidable cast with the likes of Chi Ma, Donnie Yen, and Gong Li. Oh, and I had to look twice, but is that Jet Li as the Emperor?
I sure hope so.
Yeah, that's Jet Li. This is another movie that should have been released on the big screen. First, as one of the major things that it had, because of one of the major things it had going for it, was the top-notch cinematography. All in all, this was a good movie, but it wasn't great. The slickness of its production may fool you into thinking that it's better than it is, but don't get sucked in. Recognize that you're just watching a movie that is meh.
Was there a talking dragon in it?
There was no talking dragon. They played
So
it straight
it
laced.
couldn't have been even a meh. It would have been a rage for me.
Yeah, well-
without Eddie Murphy being funny.
Yeah, you probably would have found it as a rage.
Mushu, man.
Eddie
Yeah.
Murphy was in Mulan.
Yeah, he was Mushu.
He was Mushu.
The only thing
Yeah.
is I haven't seen then.
Yeah,
you go.
good. Well, you should see the cartoon. I wouldn't even get this for free when this comes out. I don't even know if I'll watch it.
There's no need to.
Any animated film that is turned into a live action film makes no sense to me, and I refuse to watch them.
Did you not see the Jungle Book?
The original, but that was before the Jungle
No,
Book.
the remake.
I read the book
You didn't watch
before
the
I
live,
saw the
You
movie.
didn't watch the live action.
The John Favreau one.
Yeah, I did.
There
It
you
was
go.
good.
It was
It was good.
it was not great.
It was one of the better.
It was okay.
It was pretty good.
I was still mad.
I wasn't mad.
I didn't get to sing Bare Necessities. So
Well, see,
Well, there you go.
You know what? You could have sang Bare Necessities if you wanted to.
I could do whatever I want whenever I
You
want,
could
except
have,
in the theater.
at an appropriate time in the movie, gotten up at the front and just started singing Bare Necessities. I'm sure the crowd would have appreciated it.
I do kind of look like a bear.
They may have
There you
joined
go.
in.
They would have thought it was part of the movie. Just stand in front of the screen. They'll think, hey, it's the singing
Hey, it's
bear.
the fat bear guy
That's
singing
what-
Bare Necessities.
That's what more cartoon movies need is sing along in the audience,
Exactly.
There you
but,
go.
But not live action.
not live action.
All right, so let's move on.
Let's do that. I'm falling asleep here.
What?
All your movies.
We are so entertaining today.
Yeah, well, you watch too much stuff.
Temperature rising. Vision blurring. Rage taking over.
Okay. So this week, my rage, it's a little bit carrying forward from Bryce's rage from last week about what the fuck, Hollywood? Why are you doing this to us? So this week, coming out, we have a choice of one movie, which isn't even being brought to us by mainstream theaters. It's being brought to us by our friends at the Globe. And I have a feeling this was a little bit of a festival film, which we're going to go see. I'm kind of excited about it. Haven't been to the Globe for a bit, so that's exciting. But what I am not excited about is the three movies that we could have seen in mainstream cinema are all romance or rom-coms. So why? Why are you doing this to us? Why is there a glut here at the end, or I guess the end of summer, for lack of a better word? You're going to throw out all this crappy romance, and every single one could be the exact same plot as the other one. I don't even need to see who's in it. I don't need to read the plot. If it's a rom-com or a romance, I have no interest to go and pay money at a theater on the big screen to see that.
I read the plots. They're very similar.
They're very exactly. It's like three of the same movies. It's like, who are you trying? Like, they're competing against each other,
They could probably put them on top of each other
and or play them all
Show them all
one
at the same time
Play
in the same
one
theater.
backwards and one forwards, and the other one backwards, and then the other one forwards.
you could probably take the audio from one and just put it on the other one, and it still probably makes sense.
It'd be the exact same thing. So my rage this week is, first off, romance and rom-coms. They're all terrible. I would say maybe I've seen 5 in my life that I've actually thought were okay.
That's good.
That's a lot.
Yeah,
And there's a ton of them that come out.
yeah, but
So that's my rage. But period
just shows
to
you,
that,
though, you should give them all a chance because you saw 5 that were okay.
no, these ones are not going to be any good.
But
I
you-
already hate them.
but you
I don't
didn't-
want to see them.
But you haven't
I'm
seen
sure
them.
they're not paying money at the theater to go see them.
But you haven't seen them.
I might see it for free,
might-
but I doubt it.
You might love them.
There may be something else. And
They might make your top
this
10
goes to the
year.
second part of my rage,
There's
which
a
is
part two?
apparently,
Yes.
there is a movie called Slacks,
Yes.
which is coming out this weekend.
It looks
in
awesome.
the Toronto area.
But the
only.
theaters in Calgary have decided we need to see 3 fucking romance movies and not get to see an awesome movie about demon-possessed slacks that kill people.
That's just wrong.
It's so
why would
wrong.
Why would they keep that from us?
I don't know.
Who's making these decisions, Jim?
If I was on holidays, I would fly to Toronto just to see this movie.
Yeah.
I would battle COVID to see a movie
It'd
about
be
pants that kill people.
Worth risking COVID.
I almost see now my rage is just going to be even more heightened by the fact that there is a movie called The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants.
Yeah.
And they could have taken a romance movie like that, or whatever that movie's about, and had a pants that kill them all. And then I would have been happy.
There's a pair of pants that fit them all, even though they were all different like body shapes and stuff.
That's
It
not,
was
well,
crazy.
even slacks. Look at the
They
trailer.
all put on the jeans and they all fit perfectly. It was crazy.
It was awesome.
It was so good.
Magic pants.
I'm telling you, the first one, pretty good movie. I will also tell you though, avoid part 2. Not so good.
Not a problem.
So, romance, bad. Killer pants, good. Let's get some more killer pants.
Here, here.
What you got, baby?
Well, Jim, if you have Disney Plus and want to watch Mulan, just wait. Don't spend $34.99, as this movie can definitely wait until you can watch it for a reasonable price, or better yet, free. If you do not have Disney Plus, please do not subscribe to purchase this for $34.99. Send a message to Disney that we demand value for our money and refuse to be gouged by this method of entertainment delivery. If this method is successful, I fear it will become the normal way of doing things, and that would just plain suck. And that's it. That's my rage.
Bill and Ted is only $20.
Yeah.
And it was...
And you don't have to subscribe to Disney
No,
Plus
I
first
don't.
for $90.
I hate it.
Nice.
Although I do... This has made me... Since I've raged about romances, this has actually made me very happy to know you spent $34 on a movie that I refuse to even pay a penny for.
I must have more money than brains.
You do have more money than brains, but that's
we
kind
know
of
that
goes without
already.
saying.
Rage subsiding. Pulse slowing. Anger fading.
All right, I'm up. All right, nothing, and I mean nothing, takes me out of the enjoyment of a film like something ridiculous happening, either due to lazy writing or poor execution by the actors. Here then are some of the worst offenders.
All right.
Starting with The Dark Knight Rises. Now, it's not one of Christopher Nolan's best, but at least I understood the plot of the film. Agree with it? Not necessarily. Okay, so Bane keeps the entire police force trapped underground. Why would you have every cop go to the tunnels in the same time anyway? That's just stupid. And then they are rescued by Batman months later. When they emerge, they are all clean-shaven, unscathed, and still alive.
Everybody packs a razor.
After months of no food, no drinkable water, and they're able to fight Bane's entire army of thugs. Indeed.
What?
Next up, we have Gravity.
Did that really happen?
Yes, it really happened.
I gotta watch that again.
Yeah, me too.
That sounds ridiculous.
That
really
sounds
happened.
redonk, man. That's
He sealed
redonk.
off every single exit.
Did
from
not
the
one
tunnel.
person have a Kit Kat bar?
Apparently, well, they were going to search. They weren't bringing a lunch.
Did they show them drinking each other's urine?
They probably had to. Yeah.
All right.
I wonder if you would. Okay, so would you drink your own urine, or like if you had none left, would you drink mine?
If I had to drink your urine, I'd probably drink your urine. Whatever.
Okay.
I'm fine with it.
I don't think I'd eat poo though. I could drink urine like all day long.
Well, Divine ate poo, and that was dog poo.
Yeah, she survived.
She survived. She was fine.
Cool. All right, what y'all got, Mer? Sorry.
Preceding announcement was not part of the Murman Minute. Just so you know. Okay, the second one is Gravity. This film won 7 Oscars.
It's all right.
Apparently, they didn't feel the need to consult any real astronauts.
No, God, no. Or physics or science at
At the
all.
beginning of the film, when George Clooney asked Sandra Bullock to let go of him because the rope will not hold them both, that could never happen because they're both in the same orbit around the Earth. All she had to do was just pull on the rope to bring him back.
Yeah. Science.
Neil deGrasse Tyson, noted astrophysicist, agreed, saying Clooney's death was completely pointless.
Yep.
Other than giving Sandy Bullock the whole movie by herself after that.
Which she ruined, by the way.
Yeah. Next up, we have Tomb Raider. This is
The original?
Angelina Jolie version.
Oh, okay.
Now, I actually like this film.
Of course.
But the whole plot was ridiculous.
Yes.
Based on a video game, after all. Lara Croft's whole goal in the film is to destroy the triangle so the Illuminati can't use its evil power.
And she kicks ass and
However,
punch dicks.
after successfully getting the first half at the first tomb, she spends the entire third act trying to acquire the second half in order to destroy them both. Problem is that she has one piece already, and one half cannot work without the other one. She just has to destroy the first piece, and that's it.
Yeah, that sounds terrible.
But, yeah, so why doesn't she? Because then we wouldn't get to watch her kick ass. That's why.
And punch dicks.
That's right.
And she does punch a lot of dicks.
All right, next up we have Man of Steel. Now, one of my favorite movies, and my second favorite Superman, next to Christopher Reeve, rest in peace. Plot hole they chose, which I kind of find actually stupid, petty, is this. Okay, so his skin is indestructible. but he's able to shave because he has a beard in one scene and then he doesn't have it in the next. Now, if anybody had bothered to watch the TV show Lois and Clark, like I did, this is explained. Clark uses a mirror to reflect his own heat vision onto his face. That's how he shaves.
That's the truth of Superman right there.
Canon, people.
I don't even know what
Read
you're talking
the canon.
about. What's a Lois and Clark?
Lois and Clark is Lois Lane and
Is
Clark
the truth
Kent.
of Superman.
It's a TV show.
Get with it, buddy.
It was a TV show?
It showed him shaving using his heat vision, which burned
Yeah.
off the hair.
Makes sense to me.
Like I said,
All
they
right.
didn't do the
He
research.
didn't use a razor.
I don't know why it's even on this list. Okay, next up is Signs. Another film I liked. Ridiculous plot notwithstanding, but here's
I like
a glaring
Signs.
one. Okay, so the aliens are afraid of and are killed by water. Yet,
Water.
at the beginning of the film, Mel Gibson chases them through the cornfield, which is wet from dew. Come on, man.
Weren't they wearing spacesuits?
No,
No, they weren't.
they're naked.
Huh.
Next one is Kill Bill Volume 1. The main things about
What?
this film were pretty ridiculous. Least of all, how one woman with a sword kills all those bad guys. All 88 of them. I know, there aren't really 88 of them. But even if it's more than 20, that's pretty amazing. But even more phenomenal, after years in a coma, the bride's legs have atrophied. Never explained is how her arms, which she drags herself along with, kills two men and propels a wheelchair, have not.
That's a
And-
good point.
And she's able to get into the wagon hours later and drive
That's because
away.
That would be the pussy wagon.
Yeah,
That's
that's
what I
because
said.
her orderly Chuck, who likes to fuck,
Yeah,
actually was working her out
sure.
for the entire time she's
Yeah,
in a coma.
Whatever.
Whatevs.
And finally, Skyfall.
Skyfall.
This one gives me a special thrill. Mostly
Love
because
Daniel
because
Craig.
of my
Daniel Craig's
disdain
awesome.
for Daniel Craig.
Maybe the best James
and
Bond
it was
ever.
the only one
He
of
is.
his which I was dragged to see. But I didn't discover this problem. I'm just happily pointing
Passing
it
it
out.
along.
All
When
right.
Q investigates Silva's computer, he connects it to the MI6 network. Nobody who knows anything about computer security would ever do that because they had to check out the computer first. But this Q apparently is not that bright. Such a system would be investigated in strict isolation. Desmond Llewellyn would never do that. Ben Whishaw, you are no Desmond.
There you go. You have
Oh,
it.
I got.
There you go.
That was so awesome,
I know.
especially that you ended it with Daniel Craig, the
Wow.
best Bond ever.
Ever.
Whatevs.
And he's super hot. Let's face it.
If you say so.
Well, I've got some surprises.
Surprise, surprise,
I don't
surprise.
like
Yes, I
surprises.
do.
Surprises suck.
All right. I got a doubted, I've got an undoubted,
Yeah.
and I've got a mesmerized.
Oh, you know what I've got?
Nothing.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes I got stuff though.
Sometimes you got things in your pants, and sometimes you don't.
Yeah, not
Okay,
this- not
so
this week.
I am bringing forward someone that should have been on here a long time ago.
All right.
And it was one of those domino things. When I picked up this domino and picked up another domino, I ended up on Ashton Kutcher. So I'm going backwards from 2009, which I did not see this movie, but I'm going to assume it's a rage. It was called Spread.
Didn't see it.
And then there's 2009's Personal Effects, which was a rage.
Didn't see it.
Valentine's Day, which was a rage. It wasn't Mondo, I can tell you that.
Oh, it was. It was a rage.
Yeah, okay, good. And then there was Killers, which was a rage.
That was freaking awful.
Yep.
That was beyond rage.
No Strings Attached, which was a rage.
Rage.
New Year's Eve, and I might let you pass with a meh on this, but it still made me rage.
It was a rage.
Okay, good. Jobs, which was a meh when he played Steve Jobs. It was not a Mondo.
It wasn't a Mondo. It was pretty good. I didn't.
But it wasn't a Mondo.
It wasn't a Mondo.
And then he did Annie, which was a rage.
Actually, Annie was meh.
No, it wasn't.
That's back-to-back miss.
No, Annie was not. How could you say that? Did you actually see
I
the
watched-
2014 Annie?
Yes.
It was a rage. It didn't even need to happen. They've made 20 other Annies before this. If you fucking give this Annie anything but a rage, you are a biggest idiot I've ever met on the planet.
Okay.
For you to give Ashton Kutcher a pass,
Okay, I don't want you to pass out, Jim. I was just kidding.
thank the powers that be, Ashton Kutcher is doubted.
The remake of Annie was awful.
It was terrible. And it didn't even need to happen.
No, it did not.
We've had too many Annies as it is.
Yes.
Thank the Lord. I felt my
right.
blood pressure.
Ashton Kutcher
I declare.
is doubted.
He is doubted. And because we got to see her this week,
Yes.
I'm putting up Tilda Swinton.
As?
And it might not make it because of Bryce, but I'm going to put it out there anyway.
All right.
2016, Doctor Strange, which was a Mondo.
Nah.
Okja was a Mondo.
Mondo.
War Machine was a Mondo.
Mondo.
Suspiria was a meh for me, but I'm guessing it might have been a Mondo for you.
Mondo.
Okay. The Souvenir was a Mondo.
Souvenir. Oh, she had a bit part in that
But she
one.
was in
She's
it.
a mother. It was a meh. I didn't.
Okay, well, Suspiria, was that a meh?
No, that was Mondo.
Okay. This is where we might lose her.
Oh, no.
Yes, I guarantee
The
it.
Avengers Endgame, which for me was a meh. It made it for me because it was Mondo meh, but this could be a double meh for you.
I can't give that other movie a man. This was also a meh.
There you go.
God damn it.
But then it's going to come up anyway because The Dead Don't Die, which was a Mondo for me, I think was a meh
It
for
was
you.
a
he
meh
hated
for me.
it.
Yeah.
She was Mondo. She was so good in it.
She is mesmerized, so I
Yeah.
think she's already on our mesmerized list.
Yeah.
So, and the personal history of David Copperfield was a Mondo.
Oh,
So
so freaking close.
yeah, it's because you and
these-
your terrible choice in movies.
Wow,
that
these
keeps her
damn
not
freaking
on.
superhero movies are killing some of these guys.
The Dead Don't Die wasn't. It was a zombie movie.
Yeah, that's kind of sucked.
Yeah.
I was so
You
disappointed.
didn't rage on anything, so
I love Jim Jarmusch, man. Love him.
yeah, and it was a Mondo. So
And
you,
it was
you have
not
to-
a Mondo.
It was super Mondo. Even Murray loved it,
I did.
and he doesn't like Jim Jarmusch movies.
I don't know who
In fact, he hasn't even seen any.
That's
Dead
right.
Man.
All right, and our final one on the mesmerized list
I feel
is
bad. I want Tilda Swinton to be undoubted.
well, suck a bag of dicks, buddy, because it's not happening,
So she's only
and it's
been...
all thanks to you.
Okay, what's the last two?
The last two was
After the
personal
Avengers?
history of David Copperfield and The Dead Don't Die. So she's
Oh,
starting with a
crap.
meh, and then she's got and it was double meh back to back.
Yeah.
So
But
she's just
but
starting
got-
over.
She's got
She does
Meh-
do a lot more movies these days.
She's got Meh Mondo, so hopefully she'll release 6
on a
movies
roll.
real quick and make some good choices.
And because we talked about him last week, I'm bringing up for Mesmerized, Crispin Glover.
Oh,
Glover, but yeah.
I would say that he is definitely mesmerizing.
He is one weird dude.
He is, but he's mesmerizing every time on screen.
Willard was actually I love that
I
movie.
loved it.
It was so good.
If it was just me, he'd be undoubted. But I know there's a few on there that.
That's-
But what do you think,
that'd be a
Murs?
tough
Does he
sell.
make it?
Oh, sure.
Crispin Glover is mesmerizing people.
Not sure equals mesmerized.
That's right. It means, yeah, sure, why not?
Sure.
All right, that's it for this week.
That's it for that. Okay. Alrighty. Last time on Rage or Dare, Bryce was lucky enough to pull the classic matchup of Warren Beatty and Madonna. Two amazing actors battling it out to see who can act better in this Warren Beatty directed masterpiece of modern comic dome. Here's a hint, I think it'll be Warren. This week, Jim will have to pull gently out of Bryce's stanky bag of noxious toxic foulness and take a dare, which I am sure will be way better and most likely not be a musical. Check with Bryce and see if he likes dick.
Do you like Dick, Bryce?
All right.
Tracy.
I've actually been I've watched this. I might have watched it like the next day or maybe even that night. I think I
'Cause
might
you
have
were
watched
so
it that-
excited.
I was like, you know what? Because I wasn't sure if I'd watched it or not, and I don't think. Well, I know that I hadn't because I would have remembered it.
I saw it in the theater.
Wow. Yeah. No, I honestly don't think.
I
That
did too.
I think this was the first time I'd watched it. So let's start with the good in this movie. This was a fantastic looking movie. The city was stunning with a combination of miniatures and paintings that was an absolute feast for the eyes. It was a comic strip come to life, and I could have watched this whole movie with no sound, and it would have been well worth my time. I cannot say enough about the look of this film. Although, if I would have watched this with no sound, I would have missed out on the tremendous dialogue, especially from Big Boy Caprice, played by Al Pacino. Pacino got to do what he's become famous for. He got to chew up the scenery. A few of his memorable lines in this were, "You get behind me, we all profit. You challenge me, we all go down. There was one Napoleon, one Washington, one me. I love that scene. He also said, "You've just said goodbye to oxygen, you silly, stupid cop. You refuse me? I offer you the keys to the kingdom, and you tell me you're an officer of the law? I am the law. Me." And who could forget when he said, "Wait a minute. Wait, I'm having a thought. Oh, yes. I'm going to have a thought. It's coming." It's gone.
It never came.
Also fantastic in this was Dustin Hoffman as Mumbles. Every time he was on the screen, I was either smiling or laughing. What a great character. And now let's touch upon the rest of this unbelievable collection of talent known as the cast of Dick Tracy. Of course, we had Warren Beatty as Dick Tracy, the aforementioned Dustin Hoffman as Mumbles, and Al Pacino as Big Boy Caprice. We had William Forsythe as Flat Top, Seymour Castle as Sam Catchem, Charles Durning as Chief Brandon, Mandy Patinkin as 88 Keys, Paul Sorvino as Lips Manless, Kathy Bates as Mrs. Green, Dick Van Dyke as D.A. Fletcher, Catherine O'Hara as Texie Garcia, and James Caan as Spaldoni.
This had more famous people in it than any movie ever made.
James Caan literally was in this for under 2 minutes. Had one line and then was killed off. That is how packed with talent this cast was. James Caan was killed off
Was the lowest of
after
the low.
delivering one line.
Warren Beatty has a lot of famous friends.
Apparently.
As I touched upon before, I loved how this comic strip came to life before my very eyes. The villains were all kind of grotesque and deformed, just like in the comic. And they were all played way over the top with glee by the actors who inhabited the characters. In contrast, the good guys in this story were a stark contrast to the excess of the villains. They all looked normal and were all completely played straight-laced. This movie was beautiful to look at. It had some extremely funny sequences. It had a lot of heart, and you could really tell the affection that Warren Beatty must have had for these characters. And now the bad. Well, Madonna was just okay as Breathless Mahoney. That's all I got for the bad. For the first time in history on Rage or Dare, this selection is getting a rating of Mondo, and a well-deserved
Wow.
Mondo at that. I cannot believe it took me this long to see Dick Tracy for the first time. But one thing is for sure, I will be watching this movie again and again. This was a lot of fun to watch. I genuinely thank you, Jim. I love this movie.
I hated everything
I'm waiting for the
about this
punchline
movie.
here.
There's
No,
no
there's no
punchline.
punchline.
This movie was awesome.
It was awful.
It was so
Don't you
freaking
remember
good.
seeing this in the theaters?
Oh,
man?
yeah.
Yeah, it was so terrible.
I don't know what you guys are talking about.
It was awful.
I
Everything
love
about
it.
it.
I
Al
suggest-
Pacino was dumb. Everybody
You know what?
you talked about. It was
Anybody
like it
that
ruined
remembers
everybody's
this,
career.
anybody that remembers this as not being good, watch it again. I'm telling you, Dick Tracy is a lot
Now,
of fun.
I saw it in the theaters, and I walked out going, what the fuck was that? And I will never see it again.
This was a masterpiece.
This may not be the only time this happens.
It's the only time so far.
It
but
is so far.
I'm kind of pleased that it did, though. I'm watching it. Honestly, I'm watching it, and I'm going along, and I'm giggling, and I'm just loving the feast for the eyes. And I'm like, what is Jim talking about? Did he make a mistake? Is there a different
No.
Dick Tracy that I'm supposed to be
No,
watching?
this is the one.
Because this thing is awesome.
No.
I kept on expecting to go, okay, well, I'm going to give it a meh at least. But no, I couldn't because it was so good.
awful.
So funny. I just loved it.
Oh.
Loved it.
That's great. I'm glad you liked it. I just can't believe you liked that movie.
No, I didn't like it. I loved it.
Oh, right.
Get it right.
You loved it.
Mondo.
Must have been
Wow.
a lot of walking in it.
Okay, so I've got to pull from Bryce's bag of juice. Juice. That one? Is this your juicy bag?
My juicy bag.
There's not much. Why have you got the least amount of juice? Did you not do your full
I don't
job?
know. No, I did the full job.
Apparently not.
Well, everything's stuck together.
Okay, well,
right.
just like everything that's in your bag.
That's why it looked like so little.
Oh, I'm kind of excited about this.
All right, what are we watching? Or what are you, I should say, what are you watching?
What am I watching? I am getting to watch Melissa McCarthy and The Boss. I could not be more excited about this.
I'm glad you're excited about this.
I am going to like this almost as much as you liked Dick Tracy.
I would wager that is not going to be
Because
the
Peter
truth.
Dinklage is in it.
Yes, he is.
And Kristen Bell's in it.
Yep.
And Melissa McCarthy's in it, as well as Kathy Bates, who is also in Dick Tracy.
Yes.
Oh! And Christian Stahl is in this.
There you go.
Even better. I cannot wait. You may just
think-
return the favor.
I can't wait.
All right, then.
It's unwatchable, Jim.
It's going to be great.
It's not.
All right. Thanks, Ragers, for listening. Thanks, the extended film Rage crew of Lander Collin for his artistic video and photography via Lander Collin Photography. Listen to us on Podbean, Apple Podcasts, Google Play, Tuner, Stitchin', iHeartRadio, Bramble. We're on Bramble now. And Spotify. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and check out our website at filmrageyyc.com. We are always wanting your feedback to make this a raging blast for our listeners, so please comment often, and please make us rage. Please, please. That's it for this week. Rage on.
Rage on.